from Grammy winner to murder one in 2.4 seconds. That's what we're going to talk about today. And it's a pretty good story. It's a true story. So I was sitting at a bar, and it's a small bar. It was only maybe 15 seats or so in Nashville, just outside of where the music is being made. So there's a lot of music people that would go to the Sunset Grill and have drinks in the afternoon or show up in the evening and stay till 2 o'clock in the morning. I mean, met a lot of people there, a lot of music people there. So one day I'm sitting at the bar and this guy comes in and we start a conversation and he mentions that he's in music. And I say, that's great, I'm in music too. And he asked me what I did and I told him that I was a songwriter. Now at this time I was a member of ASCAP. I say at this time, I still am a member of ASCAP. But I had been a member of ASCAP for about 5 years. And I had written songs with some #1 songwriters and some guys who had won a double award for Song of the Year, that's a Christian music award. I was published by the world's largest Christian music publisher, and I was on the radio from time to time. I was known as a pretty decent guitar player around town, and so I had a song that was being played on radio, and it was just me playing guitar. It was me playing all the instruments, but mainly it was a guitar track. Well, this guy that I'm sitting next to at the bar, he says that he has somebody coming to meet him that is really in music. All of a sudden, in walks in a Grammy of the Year Hall of Fame songwriter. You don't meet these guys very often, and you don't see them out and about around town. Even in Nashville, you would think that you would run into them quite often. You don't. It's rare. It's like running into a Pokemon or something. I don't know. You don't see these people out. He was the guy that was there to meet this other guy that I was talking to at the bar. And so we proceeded to stay there for a few hours drinking. Later that night, this guy is drunk. And he asked me to wait around with him while he kind of sobered up because he didn't want to drive to his house while he was drunk. And so even though it was late and I had to go to work the next morning, I said, sure, why not? Okay. So I waited around with him. He drank some water and finally kind of half sobered up. And I followed him to his house to make sure that he got home safely. But once we get back to his house, he starts drinking again. Now, it's 2 a.m. in the morning, and this guy is piling on the alcohol. I walk into his writing room. The Grammy is sitting on the mantle, and it's a Song of the Year Grammy. I mean, this thing is real. I asked this guy, I said, can I pick it up? Can I, hold it? And he was like, sure, whatever, because he had been drinking all day. He didn't care. So I was holding the Grammy, and this guy's in the Songwriter Hall of Fame. Next to his Grammy is a book, and it's about this thick, printed out full of songs that this guy has written. He's written some of the largest songs in American history, and that's why he was in the Songwriter Hall of Fame, and that's why he got the Grammy of the Year. Because we had been sitting at the bar for so long and drinking for so long, and just talking about music and everything in general, he hands me a guitar and he says, why don't you play me one of your songs? Now, like I said, I've written songs with #1 writers and some double award winners, and I had been published, but I had never been in the house of somebody with a Grammy for Song of the Year, and this guy asking me to play him one of my songs. I start playing him the first song that came to my mind, which wasn't a completed song. It was just something that I was working on. I played it for him. He asked me to play it again, and so I played it again. And then he started in on me. He started, I want to hear it like this, and I would rather if it said that. And before long, he and I were writing this song. We were going to finish this song together. Now keep in mind, he was still drinking. I mean, it's almost 4 o'clock in the morning now. He's still drinking. The truth was, I didn't care. The only thing that I cared was I was sitting there writing a song with a Grammy winner who's in the Songwriter Hall of Fame. I didn't care how much he drank. As long as we completed the song, as long as I was able to say, hey, guess what? I just wrote a song with a Grammy winner in the Songwriter Hall of Fame. That would be cool. And so he stands up to go get another drink. 4 o'clock in the morning. You remember those old gas pumps that they have the globe over the top of them? You probably have seen them in like the Andy Griffith Show, if you've ever seen that, or some old television show, or maybe if you've been in an antique store or something like that, you've probably seen them. They're basically a gas pump, and they've got a large globe over the top of them. He had one of those sitting next to the door as you walk out of the music room. Sure enough, at 4 o'clock in the morning, he's going to get himself another drink. He stumbles. I don't see it. My back is turned as he passes by me and going behind me. I don't see him starting to stumble and starting to fall. All I hear is him crash to the ground and that globe, that large globe, crack over the top of his head. I jump up, turn around. He's laying in the ground. The globe is broken into 1,000 pieces. His head is split open. There's a mess everywhere, all over the ground. And I panic. I freak out because I've never met this guy. I've never been to his house. No one knows who I am. My fingerprints are everywhere. I've got fingerprints on the guitar, fingerprints on the Grammy, fingerprints on the songwriting book. And here I've got this guy at 4 o'clock in the morning about to be dead on the ground in his house. I mean, he had an actual gash on his head, and it was a pretty large gash. I wanted to call an ambulance just so I could proclaim my innocence. Like, I wanted somebody else there to be like, hey, this guy tripped and fell. So as soon as I get him set up and, back to cohesion a little bit, get a lot of the area cleaned up and swept and everything, he asked me to go get him another drink. He asked for another beverage. He was like, guy, can you go in the kitchen and get me a drink? The last thing I'm going to do at 4 o'clock in the morning after you done busted your head open with this big glass globe sitting on the top of a gas tank is go get you another drink. It wasn't going to happen. And so I politely declined and I left the house. It was nearly 5 a.m. when I got back to my apartment, and I had to be at work at 7. And the whole time back, I was worried that he was dying, that he was just going to pass out, fall out, trip again. Who knows? I didn't know what was going on. All I know is when I left, he was going back to get another drink. All the dreams that I had of becoming a Grammy winner myself, writing a song with this guy, were going to be crushed because, like the title says, from Grammy winner to murder one in 2.4 seconds. Years later, after this incident, I heard that he did pass away. And I was sad about it. I never saw him again. I never talked to him again or had any kind of contact. I mean, we wrote what is probably his very last song together. The very last song he ever co-wrote, he co-wrote with me. And I never saw him or spoke to him again. As a result, I never got my Grammy, and I never got any kind of credit for writing with a guy in the Songwriter Hall of Fame with a Grammy of Song of the Year. And I never really told this story until today.